not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
What a story, Mark. I really could just make a video dedicated to compiling all my favorite quotes from this movie, and that, in and of itself, can constitute a Guilty Pleasure Treasure episode, because I feel this is not just one of my personal favorite Guilty Pleasure treasures. I feel this is one of the world's favorite Guilty Pleasure treasures. I don't really know what else I can contribute to the discussion on The Room, other than just what makes me love this little mess of a movie so much. And yeah, I did time this Guilty Pleasure Treasure to coincide with the mass distribution of The Disaster Artist this weekend. And a lot of people got to see it a week early. I'm very envious of them. I first became aware of The Room back around, I want to say 2007 or 2008. It had been out, I guess, for a while in its, midnight screening format and became this little underground hit out on the West Coast. But it wasn't until about 2008, I guess, where I began to see clips of this movie show up online. The "You're tearing me apart, Lisas!"
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
The, as you saw in the intro here, the little, "I did not hit her, it's bullshit." The "You're just a little chicken, Peter, cheep, 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 cheep." All those little nuggets of horrible goodness began to make their way to us via YouTube clips. I don't know, something about me was just like, I can't wait to see the full version of this movie, which I eventually did about a year or so later. I immediately just kind of fell in love with this. This is on Plan 9 from Outer Space levels of both artistic vision gone rampant, director ego fully on display, but also sheer incompetence being celebrated in filmmaking. Like I said, I don't know what else I can say other than to praise its accomplishments on the mountaintop and just recommend anyone who enjoys terrible, enjoyably fun, bad movies to give it a watch if you haven't already, which, if you haven't already, where have you been? Yeah, there's a lot, definitely, from a critic standpoint, you can eviscerate this movie with, from its incoherent plot to pacing issues to repetitive scenes where all the characters, no matter what progression they make in the semblance of a story arc there is, they end up just resetting again just to go through those motions over and over again. The many times, like, you could pretty much count all the love scenes in this movie as, like, timeline reboots. Johnny and Lisa are in love. Johnny and Lisa canoodle a little bit. Johnny and Lisa have sex. Reset. Lisa doesn't love Johnny, but then loves his best friend Mark, so she canoodles with Mark. She and Mark have sex. Reset. Lisa says she's not in love with Johnny and that Johnny hit her. Her and Johnny get back together a little bit, canoodle some more, have sex. Reset. I mean, it's phenomenal, like, how lovably incoherent the characters and story can be in this movie, but goddamn if it's not entertaining. I mean, there are some people in this film that are trying to pull something out of this production. Most notably, two of my standouts, Chris R., who actually is a pretty intimidating drug dealer.
Where's my money, Denny?
Where's my fucking money, Denny?
I believe, like, he went into this being like, oh man, this is gonna make my career. I'm gonna be a total badass in movies thanks to this little bit part. To my favorite character in The Room outside of Tommy Wiseau, because let's face it, Tommy Wiseau is a character in and of himself. My favorite character, Denny, who you just never know really what this kid's deal is. You think he's like a lapdog and a nice neighborhood pet for Johnny and Lisa, to this just weird, awkward, kind of almost cringy kid to hang around with, to this kid who goes through his own sense of drama with drug addiction, I guess? To the point where him, Lisa, and Lisa's mother, who, by the way, did she mention that she has breast cancer?
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
Lisa's mother and Lisa give him shit for, accepting drugs and, getting involved in drug trade with Chris R. And it leads to a massive, awesome freak out from him.
How much do you have to give him?
This is not the way you make money.
How much? Stop ganging up on me.
There's so many jewels in this film that I could just revisit time and time again without the context of the movie. Overall, when you put it all together as a movie, it is a thoroughly enjoyable time. But I feel if you're not privy to the behind the scenes stuff going into it, that it wouldn't be as enjoyable. I genuinely feel that. Like the fact that the guy who plays Peter just drops out of existence in the last portion of the movie, and a lot of the dialogue which you feel was intended for Peter is passed off to just a random dude who just shows up at the very end. If you didn't know that the actor had left production, that doesn't make it as funny. So maybe a little bit of knowledge going into the room, which I feel is kind of a prerequisite for a film like this. You have to kind of know what you're getting into. Otherwise, you could be that audience member who will just kind of be infuriated that how is something this incompetent so enjoyed by people if you don't understand where it's coming from? And where it's coming from is, again, this wonderful marriage of lack of skill and craft, but a whole boatload of heart. I'll be damned if Tommy Wiseau doesn't throw in as much of his vision and the emotions that he's going for into these scenes. And there are points where you can see some semblance of what this would be like if he just had a little bit more skill. Honestly, as cringy as the acting and positioning of bodies in the love scenes are, they're shot like an erotic thriller. They're shot like something in like that romantic haze and things like that. And there's points where there's transitions and fades in the scene. I can't show you any of them because I want to spare you at least the theater experience of having to view Tommy Wiseau's ass. These scenes are like, they're shot like something you would see in a big glitzy romantic erotic Hollywood movie. It's just that the actors and the actions involved in the scene are silly. Yeah, and I don't know, it's this weird occurrence where all these people who probably should know better kind of just pooled their resources and efforts around this strange but eccentric and vivacious personality of Tommy Wiseau to create they probably didn't even know what. And yeah, there's plenty of mystery surrounding how he financed this movie, and plenty of theories out there. My money's on Blue Jeans. But you forgive all that for all the great, over-the-top freakouts, the wonderful repetitive scenes, the awkward way in which people deliver lines with each other.
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you.
How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the change. Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
And I can't believe we live in a world now where all of that is coming full circle with a biopic essentially coming out this weekend that a lot of people say could be an award-winning contender for this year. So by all means do I totally recommend watching The Room. Again, I don't know how much else I can contribute that hasn't been said about this movie already, other than I have a huge smile on my face every time I put it on or every time I show it off to someone new. It is one of those film experiences that can't be missed. And I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what James Franco and his band of cohorts are able to come up with in The Disaster Artist. So hopefully I'll have a review for that coming soon for you this weekend. Until the next Guilty Pleasure Treasure, don't touch me, motherfucker. Get out.